Fortunately, there are more people than just the neighborhood, but I can tell you that everyone from the neighborhood is here as well.
Where regardless of faith, gender, ethnicity, we come together. We come together in the time of happiness, we come together in the time of sadness, and we especially come together when somebody tries to divide us.
Could it be my son? Could it be my daughter-in-law? Could it be my grandchild?
Mr. Mayor, please, I'm begging you. If you have kids, if that happened to your child, you would understand, sir. You would understand. And we don't need guns. Nobody needs guns.
Well, baby, I've been here before. I've seen this room and I've walked this floor. You know, I used to live alone before I knew you. And I've seen your flag on the marble arch. And love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah.
Thousands gathered last night at a vigil for victims of Sunday's deadly Toronto shooting. Feelings of solidarity, grief, and defiance ran high. Megan Fitzpatrick is at the scene of the memorial this morning. So, Megan, take us through some of what happened last night.
Well, Hannah, the vigil actually began further down the street on Danforth Avenue, and then the large crowd did make their way here to Alexander the Great Parkette. This is right around where the shooting began on Sunday night, and there were several speakers last night. Some music was played. Obviously, people continuing to lay flowers here and add to the growing tributes to the two young victims who lost their lives. People putting cards here, stuffed animals. There were a number of friends of the victims here. We know some of the teammates of the young 10-year-old girl, Juliana Kosas. She was at competitive synchronized swimming, and some of her teammates were here. Mayor John Tory was here, Premier Doug Ford among the attendees. A lot of tears, a lot of emotion, but it was an evening where the community was coming together, and not people just from Greektown, as this neighborhood is known, but all across the city as well. I just spoke to a woman who lives in the neighborhood who was here last night. She was here again this morning and talked about how important it was for people to come together and really comfort each other. And CBC spoke to some people last night who were here who said this was just a very important opportunity to show strength and solidarity. Take a listen to what this woman said, who originally is from Rwanda and is a genocide survivor and lives here now. Here's what she said about coming to the vigil last night.
We have to show that what happened here should not happen anywhere else, and we are against violence in any form. And it hits home. So we have to stand up and keep the Danforth alive. Whenever I hear a violence like this, I feel so hurt too.
So she talked about keeping the Danforth alive. A lot of the chalk messages written here on the pavement and the fountain read Danforth strong. But one of the other messages I've seen written, Hannah, says enough is enough. And actually on some of the trees here, there are signs that somebody put up that sort of have an anti-gun message or gun control message. Another poster reads ban handguns. So there's also a sense that people want their political leaders to do something about the number of shootings that have been happening in Toronto this summer alone. And John Tory, the mayor, was here last night, and he spoke a bit about what the city's doing to tackle that issue. Here he is.
There are no easy answers, but that the thing they should be heartened by is that all of their governments, and working with the police service, the federal government, the provincial government, we are all meeting like constantly to try and figure out what we can do. We're just going to keep at this because keeping the city safe, is a fundamental priority for all of us. And this is one of those issues on which there's no daylight between any of us on working this out and doing whatever we can.
He's trying to assure residents that they're working on it. They're trying to tackle this issue. And in the meantime, though, Hannah, really the grieving continues here in this community and beyond, too. The Juliana Kosas, the younger victim, was from Markham, Ontario, north of Toronto. And her family obviously devastated and has asked for privacy, as has the family of Reese Fallon. But I can tell you this community is still bustling and busy. Even in the early morning here, there's people coming by having their morning coffee and but coming by to pay their tributes and pause and reflect on what happened here on Sunday night.
And Megan, what's the latest on the investigation? What are police telling CBC?
The latest is that we have learned, according to a police source, that the gunman on Sunday night did die of a self-inflicted bullet wound. We knew he had made his way down Danforth, shooting into the cafes and restaurants. Police arrived on the scene quite quickly, Hannah, found the suspect, and there was an exchange of gunfire, and then he fled and he was found dead on Danforth Avenue. But the police hadn't officially said yet whether he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound or as a result of that gunfire with police. Now, the SIU is investigating this, as they always do when there's this kind of incident between police and a suspect. They haven't officially said this, but this is what we're being told from a police source, as well as some other information about the firearm that they seized a firearm in their apartment search on Monday, where the suspect lived, along with seizing a lot of ammunition, we're told by this police source as well. So a few more details being learned about the investigation, and we'll keep listening for any police updates today on that front.